Ash has officially traveled with 18 different companions, with each of them introduced to us in many different ways. And out of all 18, Sophocles has the worst character introduction. Welcome to my ranking of Ash's traveling companions in their debut episodes from worst to best. This ranking evaluates how effectively each companion is introduced in their first appearance, considering both how much we learn about them and how engaging and likable they come across in that initial impression. That being said, Sophocles is at dead last because he's kind of a nothing burger. We can tell that he's the technology guy of the group, but we don't get any substantial dialogue from him. And if he gets some, it's usually a bad one. His literal first line is playfully revealing to Ash about Lillie's deep trauma on being unable to touch Pokemon.
Thing is, Lillie can't touch Pokemon. I can touch them, theoretically that is.
Right off the bat, it already shows Sophocles as insensitive to his friends. Then later, when the Alola gang plans a surprise party for Ash, Sophocles' way of welcoming him is by challenging him and Pikachu to a balloon popping contest versus himself and Togedemaru. A match that's so lopsided from the start, which only makes Sophocles look like he wants to show off and make the party about him. Sophocles starts a series in the wrong foot with no redeeming qualities, which is why he's dead last in this ranking. At number 17 we have Chloe. Like Sophocles, Chloe doesn't give us much about herself in her introductory episodes. Both in her debut as a child and her debut as an older child, Chloe's character focuses way too heavily on keeping Go in check and updated about school. Her first encounter with Ash also rubs many people the wrong way, as it feels like she was being heartless and impassive towards our recently crowned Alolan champion. But unlike Sophocles, Chloe at least gives off an air of intrigue that makes us quite interested in learning more about her character. Next up at number 16, it's Lillie. No, not this Lillie, but this one. No, not this Lillie either, this one. Lillie's introduction, I'd say, is the definition of getting the bare minimum. Early on, we learn about her reservation about touching Pokemon, though she loves them, at least from a research point of view, so we know that she's the book-smart person of the gang. But besides that, we know nothing more about Lillie's character. I also just want to point out when ranking these companions, I don't only consider their actual debut episodes, but all the episodes until they become Ash's official or unofficial traveling companion. Or in Sun and Moon's case, classmates. Cause it'd be unfair for someone like Iris to just be evaluated using this single shot of her jumping off a tree. Unfortunately for the Sun and Moon gang, the writers had to introduce all 5 of them in the span of 2 episodes, so they'll take up most of the space here in the bottom ranks. That being said, Lana is at number 15. Like the other 3 below her, we don't really get to know much about Lana in the first 2 episodes. We can tell that she's soft-spoken and caring towards others and her Pokemon, but like Sophocles, I don't like that she and Popplio challenge Ash and Pikachu to an Aquathlon race, which is less unfair than Sophocles, but still unfair.
I'm proud of you, great Popplio.
Yeah, like beating a mouse in a swimming contest is something to be proud of. But what I like most about Lana's introduction is how it directly references Misty's introduction in the very beginning, which foreshadows their connection later on in the series. It also tells us that Lana likes fishing, and introducing someone in the middle of their hobby is always a good way to do it. Next up at number 14, we have Iris. On second thought, maybe Iris would have ranked higher if we only evaluated her on her actual debut episode. Nah, just kidding. Iris has a pretty decent introduction episode, all things considered. Yes, her calling Ash a little kid multiple times and stating the obvious basics feels like an insult to his prior accomplishments, but it still isn't insufferable at this point. In fact, I like how Iris gets a lot of screen time bonding with Ash, even spending the night together. Plus, we get to see her useful jungle skills and even get a whiff of her desire to become a Dragon Master when she's heated upon hearing that Zekrom calls all that lightning.
I'd love to meet Zekrom someday. I can't wait to meet Zekrom!
Iris' character as a whole can be appreciated more as the series progresses. However, the characters above her start the series out as instantly likable, more interesting, or with a funnier plot and dialogue that makes her introduction more memorable. Lucky number 13 goes to Mallow. Mallow is shown to be the most cheerful and friendly one of the group. She's the person who takes Ash and us around the Pokemon school, showcasing all of Alola's charm and the excitement to follow. Mallow's got a genuinely warm energy which instantly makes her the most likable member of the group. She's also the one who spearheaded Ash's surprise party, and later we learn that she's the poster girl of her family's restaurant, so she nicely cooks him a meal. Then after Ash's encounter with Tapu Koko, Mallow is the one who shows immediate concern for his well-being. Of everyone, Mallow is the one person who perfectly embodies the spirit of Alola. I guess we could say she's Malola. Rounding out the Alola gang, we have Kiawe at number 12. If Mallow is the most likable character of the group, Kiawe is the most interesting one. He probably gets the most badass intro scene out of anyone on this list when he executes Inferno Overdrive and single-handedly defeats Team Skull. This only makes all of us fascinated about the power of Z moves, which then leads Ash to want to use one. In Ash's surprise party, Kiawe also had the fairest match with Ash, being a Tauros race, although Kiawe still won. I guess what I love about Kiawe is that he introduces tension in this kumbaya group, not in an annoying way, but more like in a cool big brother mentor type of way. He keeps Ash in check, saying stuff like using Z moves shouldn't be taken lightly. And when Ash's Z crystal shatters during the Tapu Koko encounter, Kiawe is the one who tells Ash that it's too soon for him to use Z moves because he hasn't had an island trial challenge yet. From here, we could already tell that a mini rivalry between Kiawe and Ash is about to ensue, which makes Kiawe's introduction the best one of the Alola game. At number 11, we have Cilan. We first meet Cilan in the streets where he goes on to evaluate Axew and Pikachu's condition. So we know instantly he's an eloquent guy who possesses a great amount of Pokemon knowledge. I like how he's introduced as the Pokemon connoisseur first, which makes it even better when he reveals to be one of the 3 gym leaders of Strident City. Cilan then displays formidable skills and a great bond with his Pansage as they battle Oshawott in the deciding round, all while managing to narrate the match from a connoisseur's perspective. He's got so much personality already in his introduction, and when he's defeated he meets Ash in the Pokemon Center and desperately asks him for some advice, which truly shows his passion for learning. His battle with Ash is good enough reason for him to journey alongside him around Unova to learn more about Pokemon. Cilan's introduction is a standard blueprint for how character introduction should be, but the introductions of the 10 people above him just have more flavor in their episodes. The first person in our top 10 is Bonnie. Throughout the first 3 episodes of her introduction, Bonnie is shown to exude pure positivity. She's cheerful, energetic, and playful, making us put her instantly on the likable side of the scale. She's also very curious and loves playing with Pokemon, so from the very beginning we could already see that she's got the potential to be a Pokemon trainer one day. Bonnie and Clemont's sibling dynamic is also shown very well, being a loving and protective one, which contrasts May and Max's more cheekily hostile one. In this initial XY trio, Bonnie felt like the glue of the group who ensures Ash and Clemont have fun things to do and serves as the happy pill to the more mature Ash and modest Clemont. Right above Bonnie we have none other than Misty at number 9. Perhaps out of all the companions, Misty was the meanest character in their introduction, having the nerve to slam a stranger who just almost drowned. But despite that, she's also shown to be very caring towards Pokemon when she notices Pikachu's in severe danger. Ash borrowing and frying Misty's bike is the plotline that started it all, and honestly, it's a great and unique reason for Misty to follow Ash, and one which will come full circle at the end of the Johto saga. She's literally the only companion who journeyed with him on a negative note. And thanks to early OS humor, Misty's introduction is sprinkled with a ton of comedy, especially when Team Rocket shows up.
I agree with her. I think she's pretty too. Pretty pathetic.
Misty can be fiery, but she's ultimately a hero at the end of the day. Her introduction perhaps has the most charm out of everyone just for the sheer humor and contrast between her empathetic and vicious personality, and of course the nostalgia of it all. From one original series companion to another, we have Tracey at number 8. I think Tracey's introduction episode was terrific, especially with the presence of filling Brock's shoes. As Ash tries to battle this gang to save a baby Lapras, Tracey shows up in the coolest entrance and evaluates all of their Pokemon similar to what Cilan did. It starts out as a comedic scene but quickly turns into an urgent one when they realize Lapras needed help. Tracey is then shown to know what to do to treat this Pokemon and gives Ash some instructions while he finds and destroys. Then later we learn that Tracey is the Pokemon Watcher, a person who, well, watches Pokemon. He's also proven to be very useful at dealing with Team Rocket, as when they steal Lapras, his Venonat provides great utility for tracking them down. What makes Tracey unique is his reason to follow Ash. It is undoubtedly the most tangible one, not abstract or becoming stronger or reaching a vague dream, but to meet his hero Professor Oak. So right off the bat, we already know that Tracey's story will climax once our heroes return to Pallet Town, which only increases the anticipation for his character's ending. Taking the 7th spot is May. Getting the show on the road starts out from May's perspective. Unlike Ash, her main passion is to travel. In fact, she doesn't even like Pokemon. As a result, we get a number of funny moments of her dealing with Pokemon.
Use water gun.
And unlike previous protagonists, May is really the first one to have some sort of couldn't care less personality.
Pikachu's electrical buildup is reaching critical mass.
Huh?
She doesn't even care which starter she's gonna choose. Torchic just looks like the least problematic one, so she chooses it without thinking twice. Like Misty, May also loses her bike to Pikachu's Thunderbolt, which only makes her blame the electric rodent for this disaster. But throughout the episode, she's also shown to have a heart as she begins to have concern for Ash and Pikachu and an appreciation for their bond as trainer and Pokemon. In the end, May guilt trips and gaslights Ash into allowing her to journey with him, because she definitely needs all the help she can get to reach Oldale Town unscathed. Next up, we have Go at number 6. Go's introduction lasts 2 episodes at different points in his life. And Go's got by far the most majestic debut episodes simply because he's encountered not 1, but 2 legendary Pokemon. Yes, Mythicals count as legendaries. As a kid, he and Chloe joined Professor Oak's summer camp, and it's nice that they wrote it this way that he could have met Ash back then, only if the latter woke up on time. During this expedition, Go and Chloe encounter Mew, an encounter he'll never forget since that has sparked his ultimate dream of catching it. Years later, Go and Ash finally meet, and this time on Lugia's back after a legendary raid battle. It's one of the most out of this world experiences a person in the Pokemon world can ask for. Together, Go and Ash travel the skies, the seas, and landed on this beautiful field of flowers. This wonderful encounter with Lugia has led Professor Cerise to invite Go and Ash as research fellows, and that's what started the strong friendship between two similar boys who love Pokemon. Then by the end, it's Go's time to choose a starter Pokemon, only to refuse because he wants Mew to become his first Pokemon. Except later he ends up having Scorbunny as his first Pokemon. Cracking the top 5, we have Clemont. Clemont possesses everything that makes Bonnie's introduction great and more. He's shown to be very skilled, especially in technical things, though he can be timid at times. Together with Bonnie, he saves Ash and Pikachu from falling to the graves at the Prism Tower. Well, he's responsible for this since we know he's the real Lumio City gym leader. His gym leader status also adds a level of intrigue and excitement for his character, as his insecurity on his skills made him stop being a gym leader and thus keeping his secret from Ash. But when Professor Sycamore's Garchomp goes awry atop the Prism Tower, Clemont serves as a hero who infiltrates his own gym to allow Ash to rescue the distressed Pokemon. Like Cilan, Clemont sees something in Ash that makes him want to travel alongside him. And of course, Clemont is Ash's very first battle of the region, a distinction no other companion possesses, so this introduction is really special for that. I'm honestly surprised Max of all people makes our top 4. His debut episode has everything you need to introduce a younger character. His entrance is one of the best, as he starts out trying to trick Ash into thinking that he's a gym leader. Ash doesn't buy it for one bit, then it's followed up by the revelation that he's actually May's brother.
Hi, Max. What's going on here?
Hi there, sis.
Your sister!
Unlike the other characters who begin the series as unintentionally bothersome or off-putting, Max is intentionally written to be this annoying little brother, which is balanced really nicely by him getting his own fair share of comeuppances.
Ash, why don't you join us for lunch? You must be starved.
Thanks.
He's got a few tricks to get his way, which usually don't work, only adding charm to his character. And beyond that, we also get to know more about his vulnerable side when he expresses jealousy that he still isn't old enough to become a Pokemon trainer. And in the end, when Team Rocket captures Mace Torchic, Max proves to be a hero who bravely sneaks through and rescues the little guy. All that is to set himself to join the gang's travels around Hoenn and then Kanto. He may be the charmingly annoying one, but he provides a useful, irreplaceable role in the group's adventures. Getting the bronze medal is Serena. Serena has the advantage of having the longest introduction out of anyone here, lasting 7 episodes. Unlike the others where they get their own special episodes, Serena's story is told in tidbits, starting with her daily ride-on race training, fun sarcastic dynamic with her mother, then watching Ash's heroic act in Lumio City, recognizing him as a person she once met in her childhood days. And when she finally begins her journey as a Pokemon trainer, she makes it her mission to find Ash. As a result, we're able to build a strong sense of anticipation as we follow Serena's journey to reunite with Ash. It all culminates with her witnessing Ash lose his very first battle with Viola, so during his training with Alexa, Serena grabs the opportunity to introduce herself, though Ash doesn't remember her. But that's okay because after cheering her aura for Ash in his rematch with Viola, he wins the match and invites Serena to be part of the group. Serena definitely had one of the most satisfying and rewarding character introductions we've had in the series, as we get to know her little by little before ever joining Ash's group, which is why she deserves her place at number 3. The top 2 are honestly extremely difficult to rank, but I ultimately decided to give Brock the number 2 spot. Brock is introduced as a mysterious, seemingly heartless gym leader who is not afraid to set his opponents some blunt remarks, or crush him with his rock battlefield. When Ash loses his first battle, it makes us see Brock as kind of mean and insensitive. With how strong Brock is, Ash wonder why he's never been a regional champion. But when Flynn takes Ash to Brock's home, that's where all our hearts turn around for him, as we see this big brother of 9 take the role of mother and father just to raise and take care of all of his siblings. While other characters are introduced with a bright shining hope for their future, Brock is tethered to responsibilities he didn't choose. And yet he does it while shamelessly wearing a cute apron and broke gender stereotypes in the year 1997. Everything about Brock's introduction makes us all want to root for him. Even Ash does too, so he couldn't handle the thought of defeating such a good man. Then after Ash exits the gym in the rematch, Brock hurriedly runs him just to give Ash what he believes is a well-deserved gym badge. That's when Brock reveals that he actually prefers to be a Pokemon breeder than a Pokemon battler, but he couldn't fulfill his dream due to his responsibilities. But thankfully, Flynn reveals himself to be
You're the good-for-nothing father who left home and never came back?
which allows Brock to finally pursue his own dreams. Brock's debut episode will forever be one of the most outstanding introductions to a main character. But there exists one character introduction that eclipses all the rest, as her debut episode belongs entirely to herself and every scene dedicated to establishing her character. I am of course talking about none other than Dawn. Dawn just has to be number 1, simply because she got the exact same treatment Ash did when he first started his journey. In fact, we don't even see Ash until the very end of that episode. Following a maiden's voyage gives us a detail of Dawn's very first day as a Pokemon trainer, showing us her strengths and flaws, as well as introducing us to her iconic catchphrase.
No need to worry, Mom!
But just when she reaches Professor Rowan's lab just to see it in total chaos, she volunteers herself to help find the missing Pokemon. That's when she comes across Piplup, and together they spend the afternoon trying to survive the wrath of this swarm of Ariados. This is when we get to see Dawn's quick thinking and genuine love for Pokemon, as she does her best in bringing Piplup back to the Pokemon Center. Their bond officially begins, which will only blossom later in the series. Not to mention it is here when Dawn and Piplup witness a mirage of Mesprit, which gives us a sense of mystique and intrigue to the future of their story. Then when Dawn and Piplup start traveling together, they come across all sorts of adventures, dealing with Team Rocket, finding Ash's injured Pikachu, and bringing him back to his trainer, culminating in the assembly of arguably the best protagonist trio in the Pokemon anime. Overall, Dawn's introduction tells us that she should not be seen as a secondary main character in the Diamond and Pearl series, but one who will be equally important to Ash. Thank you so much for watching my ranking of character introductions of Ash's companions. Comment down below which one's your favorite, and tell me your favorite moment in any of these episodes. But as always, it's been your boy LUAP, and I've got to introduce myself somewhere else, so I'm out. Peace.